Over the Rhine, often abbreviated as OTR, is a neighborhood located in Cincinnati, Ohio. Over the Rhine historically has been a working class neighborhood that is among the largest, most intact historic districts in the United States. But recently, in the past decades, the preservation and renewal of this neighborhood has been far from easy. For a little bit of background, Cincinnati was incorporated as a city in the year 1819 and by 1850 had a population of about 115,000. Its placement on the Ohio River made the area a prime location for business as the river made shipping and receiving products efficient and accessible. Over the Rhine is located about 10 blocks north of the river and was a neighborhood that took advantage of this opportunity. Beer and liquor was also important to the success and growth of the neighborhood. The 1920s Prohibition closed down the breweries, saloons, and beer halls. Initially, this was an issue because alcohol was important to the neighborhood's financial success, but after the German-American population of Over the Rhine dispersed to Cincinnati's suburbs and beyond, the neighborhood became a rundown retail and residential quarter. This, in addition to the Great Migration, led to the neighborhood to become predominantly black. By the 2000 census, the racial makeup of Over the Rhine was 76.9% African American. In Over the Rhine, crime and poverty have been the leading factors behind the neighborhood's struggles and hardships. But over time, these hardships have enabled for opportunity and growth through renewal. An example of this would be the massive riots that occurred in Cincinnati during the year 2001, which brought awareness and eventually change to the neighborhood. The riots began after 19-year-old unarmed black teen Timothy Thomas was shot and killed by two off-duty police officers. This sparked a week of protests and riots within the neighborhood. Although the riots started due to police brutality, many can credit the years of neglect and prejudice that black families in the area were subjected to during the past decade. After the riots subsided, there was close to $3.6 million in property damage and numerous arrests and injuries. The neighborhood of Over the Rhine was already struggling. These riots only made hard times harder. The riots did bring attention to the area, enough attention to make people aware of the neighborhood's beauty and potential. Over the Rhine is considered an ethnic neighborhood, as in the late 20th century, almost one half of its residents were German immigrants. The area got its unique name after some residents claimed that crossing over the Miami and Erie Canal was like crossing the Rhine River into Germany. Over the Rhine is now a popular district located in central downtown Cincinnati. After the riots of 2001, the area became very rundown and slum-like. The district became known for its crime and uncleanliness. Not only did people want to not move into the area, people were leaving every day. This was creating a negative loop. People were leaving, and so were the money and jobs. The apartment buildings became vacant, and the schools and government-funded programs and buildings started to become dilapidated. This change occurred throughout the late 90s and early 2000s, so city officials and planners came together and started to create a plan to revitalize Over the Rhine. The 3CDC has also had a great effect on the renewal that has occurred in Over the Rhine over the past decade. A quote on their website perfectly sums up their goal. The quote states, "The Cincinnati Center City Development Corporation, 3CDC, is a 501c tax-exempt, private, nonprofit corporation. Its mission and strategic focus is to strengthen the core assets of downtown by revitalizing and connecting the central business district with Over the Rhine." The 3CDC was formed in July 2003, recommended by a City of Cincinnati Economic Development Task Force as part of an overall system to increase the effectiveness and efficiency of development activities in the City of Cincinnati. Mayor Charlie Lucan and members of the Cincinnati corporate community joined together to create 3CDC, agreeing that the economic future of Cincinnati depended first and foremost on a strong and vibrant downtown business and entertainment district. The 3CDC has done a superb job at finding buildings that are primed for redevelopment. They were the catalyst that pushed the 500 vacant buildings and the 227 more that were ordered to be vacated into reform. One great example of this is the Duncanson Lofts located at 1400 Vine Street in Over the Rhine. The 6 vacant, rundown buildings were turned into 25 condominiums and over 9,000 square feet of prime real estate spaces. These nonprofit groups were able to learn about city and residential codes in order to make these new spaces efficient as possible. The efforts and money put into Over the Rhine by the 3CDC led to improvements in yields in both the financial and population situation within the neighborhood. From the year 2010 to the year 2019, there was almost a 15% increase in population to go along with the growth of annual individual income that went from $23,000 a year to almost $35,000 a year. Over the Rhine's growth through urban renewal has helped hundreds of similar businesses and has created an entrepreneurial scene that is one of the most dynamic urban districts in the Midwest. But all that positive change in renewal has also come at a cost. It has recently sparked a pretty serious debate pertaining to access to affordable housing and displacement, which in recent years has been the main focus of the neighborhood. People have been debating whether the urban renewal has been positive for the existing community or simply a modern example of successful gentrification. In recent years, this has been a debate that occurs through most urban renewal projects. Although 3CDC purchases mostly vacant buildings, the buildings they do not renovate increase the price and quality of the neighborhood. This problem is seen all across the United States as poor families get displaced when it becomes too expensive to live in the apartment complex or house they have been living in for years. A report done in late 2016 found a 73% drop in affordable housing in Over the Rhine between 2002 and 2015. Ultimately, urban renewal for Cincinnati's Over the Rhine district has done more good than harm for the neighborhood. It has brought opportunity, wealth, people, hope, and fun into a neighborhood that was once gray and run down. The billions of dollars spent in the hope are all well worth it, as these old buildings with so much history are definitely worth saving. The 3CDC has been the leading force in this renewal, and it is easy to say that their job hasn't been easy, but they have done extremely well. Every penny of the $1.6 billion that the 3CDC has spent over the past decade has been for the better. There is still a very long way to go, with lots of issues to solve, but for now, Over the Rhine should be happy with where they are at.